writing a eulogy. Wow. Just thinking about it can feel incredibly heavy,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. It's so overwhelming.
You're dealing with your own grief, all these raw emotions, and then there's this huge pressure.
Mm.
Pressure to, get it right, to somehow capture a whole life in just a few minutes. It can honestly feel paralyzing.
It really can, even for people who are usually good with words.
So that's what this deep dive is about today. We want to offer something like a shortcut.
A way through the common pitfalls.
Exactly. Not just listing mistakes, but really getting into why they happen so you can craft something that, well, feels true. Something from the heart.
It's a challenge everyone faces, isn't it? How do you possibly boil down a whole lifetime, all those memories, the impact they had into something short, powerful?
And something that connects with everyone listening.
Precisely. So our goal here is to look at how you do that. How to make sure your words really honor the person instead of maybe accidentally falling flat.
Okay, so let's dive in. We're looking at 10 common mistakes to avoid when writing a eulogy.
And we'll unpack each one.
Yeah, get into the thinking behind them and hopefully offer some real insights for crafting a tribute that's, authentic and really moving. Let's get started.
Sounds good.
So, the first one, it seemed almost instinctive maybe, trying to summarize the entire life.
Right. That urge to list everything, every job, every move, every achievement.
But you're saying that trying to cram it all in, that's actually often the opposite of what works. Why is that?
Well, think about the people listening. They're grieving. Their ability to just process a long list of facts chronologically is really limited at that moment.
Okay, that makes sense. Cognitive load.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So instead of that exhaustive summary, the real insight here is that maybe one single well-chosen story.
Or a key characteristic.
Yes, that acts like an emotional anchor. It lets people feel the essence of the person. It's not just data processing.
It's about making them feel something specific, something real.
It's evocative storytelling. Resonance, not just reciting a CV.
Resonance, that's a good word for it. And thinking about who you're resonating with. That brings us to the next potential pitfall. Forgetting the audience. It's so easy to just focus on your connection, your memories. But who are you actually speaking to?
That's such a key question. How do you kind of widen the lens beyond just yourself?
Yeah.
The aim should be to find those moments, those stories that spark a sort of collective memory.
Where other people in the room, friends, colleagues, other family can think, oh, yes, I remember that too, or that sounds just like them.
Exactly. Finding the universal truth within your personal story. So the tribute honors their impact on all the lives they touched, not just yours.
And as you think about that wider audience, how you sound matters too. Which leads to mistake number 3, using language that's too stiff or formal.
Right, like you're giving a business presentation.
Yeah. But you're sharing something deeply personal. Why is finding your authentic voice so critical here?
Well, the deeper truth, I think, is that authenticity, just speaking naturally, creates a much stronger connection. Empathy.
Formal language puts up a wall.
It can, yeah, it creates distance. But your real voice, even if it trembles a bit, with its warmth, its vulnerability, that invites people in.
Sharing the emotional experience.
Precisely. And that's what makes it memorable. People remember how your words felt, not if every sentence was grammatically perfect.
Okay, this next one might raise a few eyebrows. Our source says avoiding humor completely can be a mistake.
It sounds counterintuitive sometimes.
Right. Many feel a eulogy must be totally solemn. But is there a psychological reason why a little laughter might actually be helpful?
Oh, definitely. When it's appropriate, of course. Humor can be this incredible release valve.
If the person was known for their sense of humor.
Exactly. Or they had a funny quirk everyone knew, including that acknowledges their whole personality, the vibrant person they were.
It's not erasing the sadness, but...
No, not at all. It's honoring the full spectrum, remembering the joy and lightness they brought. It signals that, yes, there's grief, but there's also this enduring love and celebration of their spirit.
That's a really nice way to put it. Okay, now for something very practical, but gosh, so important. Mistake number 5, making it too long.
Yes. We've all sat through those, haven't we?
Unfortunately, yes. The source suggests, 5 to 7 minutes is often a good target?
Around there, yeah. It's a guideline.
But beyond just the clock, what's the sort of cognitive or emotional reason why keeping it brief is actually more powerful?
You touched on it earlier, respecting that emotional and cognitive load.
Right, people can only take in so much when they're grieving.
Exactly. A shorter, more focused message means every word has a chance to land, to be absorbed. It doesn't get lost.
So brevity shows empathy for the listeners, too.
In a way, yes. It ensures those powerful memories you do share are actually retained and cherished, not just wash over.
Okay, next up, mistake number 6. Being too vague or generic.
The "he was a great guy" trap.
Exactly. Or she always lit up the room. It sounds nice, but it doesn't really paint a picture, does it? Why do these platitudes fall so flat?
Because they could apply to almost anyone. There's no uniqueness.
So what's the trick to finding those details that really bring the person to life?
Concrete, specific examples. Things that trigger a mental image, or even a sensory detail.
Like what they actually did or said?
Yes. The source had a great example, didn't it? Something about Tuesday trivia night.
Oh, yeah. He never missed Tuesday trivia, even when sick, and always brought extra pens.
See? That tells you so much. It's specific, it's unique, maybe a little quirky.
It makes him feel real.
It does, and those are the details that stick with people and forge a much deeper connection than just saying he was dedicated.
Okay, speaking of keeping it real, mistake number 7 is trying to wing it. No script.
Oh, that's a risky one.
Even if you feel like you know exactly what you want to say, emotions in that moment,
Yeah,
they could just completely take over.
absolutely. Your mind can go blank, or you get choked up.
So what's the benefit of preparing something, even just notes, beyond just, remembering the words?
It's like having a safety net. A written version, full script or bullet points, doesn't matter if you read it word for word or not, it gives you immense comfort and, crucially, control when you're feeling vulnerable.
So you're not scrambling for thoughts.
Right. It frees you up to focus on the delivery, on connecting with the audience, sharing your feelings, rather than struggling to recall that story or find the right phrase under pressure. It ensures the important stuff gets said clearly.
Now, this next one can feel really difficult, I imagine. Mistake number 8, leaving out the struggles or imperfections.
Yeah. The temptation to present a perfect picture.
Because nobody is perfect. But why is showing a fuller, more honest picture, including maybe some challenges they faced, actually more powerful, more respectful in the end?
Well, trying to sugarcoat someone's life can, ironically, make the tribute feel less authentic, maybe even a bit hollow.
Because we know life isn't like that.
Exactly. And often, it's those very imperfections, the challenges overcome, or even just their funny little flaws that made them relatable, human, resilient.
And deeply loved, maybe because of those things, not despite them.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So honesty, handled with kindness and dignity, of course, it paints a more complete, more heartfelt picture. It honors their whole journey, not just a cleaned-up highlights reel.
Okay, mistake number 9, and this feels like a really fundamental shift in focus. It's focusing only on the death, on the loss.
Which is understandable in the midst of grief.
Totally. It's natural to dwell on the fact that they're gone.
Yeah.
But why is it so important to consciously shift the focus onto celebrating the life they lived?
Because the eulogy, while prompted by death, is fundamentally about life.
Right.
Grief is there, it's acknowledged, but the main focus should be on who they were, their passions, their habits, their spirit, their relationships.
The things that made them.
Them. Yes. Shifting to that celebration acknowledges that their story doesn't just end with their passing. It's about their legacy, their impact. It's an act of remembrance that anchors everyone in what actually lasts.
And finally, mistake number 10. Trying to do it all alone. Not asking for help.
Yeah, feeling like it's solely your burden.
This is such a personal thing. It's easy to feel like you should do it alone. But what's the real value in reaching out, collaborating maybe?
Oh, it's huge. Asking for help isn't weakness, it's wisdom. And it's love, really.
How so?
Getting perspectives from other family members or close friends can just enrich your own memories. They might remind you of stories or qualities you'd forgotten or hadn't considered.
Broadens the picture again.
Exactly. And even just reading your draft eulogy aloud to someone you trust beforehand, that can give you invaluable feedback, emotional support, a bit of scaffolding.
Take some pressure off.
It really does. It turns this daunting solo task into more of a shared act of love and remembering.
So wrapping this up then, it's clear that, writing a eulogy is deeply personal and it's definitely challenging.
No doubt.
But by consciously trying to avoid these common mistakes, we've talked about things like focusing on the audience, getting the length right, embracing honesty, maybe even a little humor.
It can become something else?
Yeah, it transforms into this really powerful, really authentic way to express love and memory.
Yeah.
Crafting something that truly connects.
Absolutely. And that core message from our source material really rings true. There's no single perfect eulogy.
Right. Perfection isn't the goal.
No. What truly matters is, like it says, your voice, your memories, and your love. That's enough. It really is.
There.
But understanding the why behind avoiding these pitfalls, the insights we've discussed, that lets you approach it with more intention.
Making it more meaningful.
More meaningful, more impactful, letting that genuine connection, your unique relationship with the person really shine through.
So, thinking about all this advice,
Yeah.
focusing on the essence, not trying to list every single thing.
Yeah.
Here's something for you to maybe mull over.
Okay.
Think about someone whose life you truly cherish. If you had to pick just one specific memory, one story, maybe one defining characteristic to represent them in a eulogy, what would it be?
That's a tough one.
It is. But think about how that single, carefully chosen detail might actually resonate more deeply, create a stronger emotional connection for everyone listening than just rattling off a list of their accomplishments. How might that one thing capture their true spirit?
Something to really ponder.